residents of Akron, the ways of Akron, the students of Akron, of us. So thank you very much for being here today. We look forward to celebrations in the months and years ahead. Thanks.
It's not every day you get to announce $7 million for a project. It's a little overwhelming. And all the trustees of the Knight Foundation, actually Bill Constantine, I know actually will be here very shortly, but also Christine Mayer. Yep, you're in the back there. But Christine, special shout out to Christine and Bill. And just as we have incredible leadership at the executive level, we have incredible leadership at Akron City Council. And it's actually particularly special for me because our next speaker, Council President Margaret Somerville, not only is she a leader at Akron City Council, but she's a leader in her ward, just like all the members of council are leaders in their wards. And actually, we have a couple members of council who actually are here with us today. I think Councilman Shamus Malik, actually in the back there. Give a special shout out for Shamus. Thank you. Councilman Fusco, I don't know if Councilman Fusco is here, but again, we're very grateful for all members of the City of Akron Council for supporting the Akron Civic Commons projects all along the Canal Towpath Trail. But as I started to say, Council President Somerville has been very, very active in the Akron Civic Commons process at many, if not all, of the public meetings. She has been a real ambassador working with neighborhood residents and helping us really build that trust with neighborhood residents and break that cycle of things done to and not with, and things promised and not delivered. And it is my honor and privilege to really introduce to you my good friend, City Council President Margaret Somerville.
Good afternoon. I am very excited to support $3.5 million contribution from the City of Akron for the Lot 3 Park Vision Plan. And we are grateful for the matching grant of the Knight Foundation. So again, thank you so much. As President of Akron City Council, it is very rewarding to see ideas of neighborhood residents about Lot 3 Park become reality. For the past 7 years, Akron Civic Commons has worked to build trust and authentic relationships with neighborhood residents, asking how might we create accessible, equitable, and welcoming parks and open spaces in our neighborhoods, in downtown Akron, and around the Erie Canal Park and Summit Lake, and on the Towpath Trail. Through our community meetings and listening sessions, we are truly co-creating, co-designing, and co-stewarding outstanding public spaces for all of residents to enjoy. Collaboration and partnership are words that are used a lot today. However, the Lot 3 Park Vision Plan is an outstanding example of what happens when we place residents at the center of our work and we create a truly beautiful and accessible park that's welcoming for all. Through the Lot 3 Park Vision Plan, we are coming together as a community to create a wonderful park and public space that links our neighborhoods and stimulates our community and creates economic development. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. If there's several things obviously we've learned over the past 2 or 3 years, reckoning with the racial injustice, as well as the pandemic, which many of us have suffered through. And that is that our parks, trails, and public spaces are now more important than ever before. Because what happened is that when the world shut down, our parks, trails, and open spaces were the only places people could go. In my 29-year career, I never would have imagined that it would take a pandemic and the racial injustice reckoning to really have it heightened. But we are glad that now parks, trails, and open spaces are not really considered non-essential services anymore. They are essential services. They're essential services for our mental health, our physical health, our spiritual health. And in that spirit, it's ironic that our next speaker I happened to run into while she was walking her dog, Gus, in downtown Akron. City of Akron resident Lori Pesci. And I would notice, and truth be told, as many folks know, I am here at the Richard Howe House at different hours. Probably more than I should sometimes, and I'm trying to work on that. But I would run into Lori walking with Gus, and we would strike up a conversation, because that's one of the things we've noticed, that you're actually seeing more dogs in downtown. You're seeing more residents in downtown. Downtown is becoming a neighborhood thanks to the leadership of Mayor Horrigan as well as Akron City Council. And so we just struck up a conversation, and we invited Lori to provide us input into the Akron Civic Commons process, Lock 3. She is a very active participant, and she likes living in downtown so much she got a second dog named Sherman. So please join me in welcoming my good friend, Lori Pesci.
Good afternoon. People normally use the phrase a community where they can live, work, and play as an ideal. But for me, downtown Akron, that's what it is. I live here, I work here, and I play here. And that's not by chance, that's by choice. Like Hal mentioned, I'm attracted to the connectiveness of downtown. Living in the old YMCA building, I'm just minutes from work at the Ohio building, minutes from our amazing restaurants, able to catch a game at Canal Park, or a concert at Lock 3, all of which I can safely walk to or even take a spin. And as Dan mentioned, my canine roommates, Gus and Sherman, also love the Towpath, and that the area is very pet friendly. So Dan didn't mention that when we did meet as I was walking along, but where we really connected was when our Leadership Akron class went to Summit Lake. That's where I learned about Akron Civic Commons. And what I can tell you that our classmates found was most impactful was the community engagement. And it inspired me. And so I said, how can I get engaged in my little part of the community? So when Dan and I spoke a couple times, I reached out to him to see how I could participate. Apartment living doesn't usually provide opportunities for input on your surroundings, but with blocks 2, 3, and 4 in my backyard, I've been able to have input and an impact on the community and where I live. The new plan and vision for the Civic Commons and Lock 3 Park builds on the community that is already thriving and that I'm proud to be a part of. I'm excited for this next phase to bring new opportunities and environmentally friendly improvements and community-oriented programming to downtown. Thank you to the City of Akron, the Ohio, Erie, and Canal Coalition, and the Knight Foundation for their commitment to the area, embracing this ideal and making it a reality. Thank you.
Should be told, when I asked her if she didn't want to say a few words, she's like, I'm not really a public speaker. You couldn't tell that by what you just said there. Thank you so much, Lori, for speaking from the heart. So with this announcement today, Locks 2, 3, and 4, which is really all the projects in downtown Akron. Phase 1 is fully funded. But with this announcement, over $10 million has been raised for Lock 2, 3, and 4. We're now continuing the fundraising for connecting to Akron Children's Hospital. And so please look for future announcements regarding additional fundraising opportunities. And as the mayor said, if anybody's interested, I'd be happy to talk with you. And the list of our individual donors is actually over here to my right. We have over 49 individual donors who have contributed to Akron Civic Commons. One special project is the Maynard Performance Pavilion that Mayor Horrigan referenced. That's named in honor of Phil Maynard, and we're very blessed and fortunate today to have one of his daughters here, Amy Griffiths. So thank you so much for allowing us to name it in honor of your father, as well as Pam Lowry with the Maynard Family Foundation. We feel this is a very fitting tribute to your father's legacy in this community. And to date, we've raised $572,000 towards our goal of $1 million. So thank you so much to all of our generous supporters in honor of the Maynard Foundation. The last thing I just would like to recognize before we answer any questions is that I really want to recognize our team members, many of them which are actually in the room: Amber Jeanette, George Eby, Emily Cooney, Tom Bennett, Brittany Blevins, Marcus Salisbury, Allison Smith, and really just want to thank the city's leadership, Knight Foundation, of all our funders. Lock 3 Park is already a very successful facility. It is an amazing concert, festival, and event facility. But what we'd like to be able to do is turn it into a 365-day park. And as you heard from Lori, with the help of all of our residents, our funders in the city of Akron, we're going to make this a reality and create a legacy for future generations. So thank you very much for coming here this afternoon, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that the media may have at this time. Actually, before I do that though, my special introduction here, to my right, our honorary co-chairs for our donor campaign, Bill and Becky Considine. They're responsible for raising that $2.6 million of individual donors. So, Bill and Becky, thank you very much.
Sorry, I'm late, folks. This retired life is tough. But when Becky and I were asked to get involved with this overall campaign, it was an easy decision for us. We're both native Akronites. We love our community. We know that we're a community of collaboration, and we're a community of people that believe in a bright future for our tomorrow and a bright future for our children and our grandchildren. And when you see the work that's been done by Dan Rice and his team, and what can be done relative to Lock 3 and also Summit Lake, a neighborhood I grew up in, it's the kind of thing that should bring energy to all of us. And I know as we've been out talking to folks about the vision, there's an enormous excitement there. And to see the way our city and Mayor Horrigan has really gotten and helped us to stay focused on this. It's a kind of project that's going to bring pride to this community, and we're just very, very fortunate to be part of this whole team. So thank you for being here today. More to come. We got more money to raise, so on the way out, we'll have a little basket. Thank you very much.
Are there any questions from the media?
I have a couple.
Yes.
Surprise. Can you tell me the funding, the 10 million, there's a lot of numbers that were thrown around. How much of that specifically is for Lock 3? There was a 3.5, there was 1.5 the city already, and then the matching fund. So that's all Lock 3 money? And
Yes.
Okay, so was that total over 10.5?
There's a total of $10,222,000 for Lock 3 Park, and that is comprised of City of Akron funding, Nye Foundation funding, Summit County government funding, Ohio and Erie Canal Coalition funding, and individual donors.
Okay. And then we see the pictures and everything, but can you give us more of a description of what is being built, what the additions are going to be? Kind of give us a rundown of what.
Absolutely. If I could get Amber's assistance in switching this out of here, I could run through it really briefly.
Okay, that'd be great.
What you're seeing here now, and the reason why we want to have this slide up here is this is the main performance pavilion. As I said, Lock 3 Park is a very successful facility right now for events, concerts, and facilities. But the stage that's put up now is actually something that's temporary. It's put up and it's taken down. This will literally be a work of art. And it's international. It's designed by an international design awarded firm out of Memphis called Arcadia. It's actually designed to you'll be able to see through it. Actually, you'll see in some other slides. Those poles that are holding it up actually are designed to actually mimic trees. So they'll actually be different diameters. The roof actually is sort of a wavy design to connect to the canal, to the water. And that's really one of the things that we're really excited about is that the Highway Near Canal is going to get more recognition. Right now, when people go to Lock 3, we've actually done surveys. They don't really know why the connection to Lock 3 and the canal. We're going to open up views of the canal. You probably noticed, Bob, here you can actually get better access to the canal in sight lines. But the other amazing thing about the Maynard Performance Pavilion, and I apologize, I'm gushing over this, but it's pretty cool, is there's actually 3 different experiences. There's the main stage experience, which you see right there, with the actual hard seats for concerts when people can actually sit on those hard seats and out on the lawn. But also, when it's maybe not a large event, there'll be kind of a medium size. They can use this side of the stage for maybe it's a medium size event. And they can also then use the back side of the event for maybe a lot of running races. We've heard from Tish Jernigan in the City of Akron that a lot of people use Lock 3 right now, but their event's kind of small. So if you have an event of 500 people, you kind of get swallowed up in this space. This design provides so much more flexibility. And then lastly, if PNC Bank, Huntington Bank, or First Energy, or Energy Harbor would like to, or Voorhees would like to maybe bring their team down here to have like a meeting on the stage, they'll be able to do that. They'll have Wi-Fi. So it's designed so that people are welcome to come on up anytime. It really speaks to the walk.
As opposed to a concert venue, which it's largely been used, because it was essentially designed as a pop-up park. But it's been so successful over the last 17, 18 years. This is more of a creation of a public park that keep those same design elements, and we're still kind of going through some reiterations about lit walkways and, you know, back to Lock 4, but it's a complete redesign of how it becomes a more of a public space. When you go down there, or if you look down there in the summertime, especially, you know, you love to see 100 people eating lunch. It's one of those really good public spaces to be able to do that. This gives you more of the shaded area to be able to do that. A lot of those different elements of a public park. It's also our central park when it comes to the city of Akron. So that's kind of the design or the thoughts around, you know, how do we make it even better. And so this is to me, I think it's very exciting.
Hey, Dave.
Go ahead. Was that your only question, Bob?
No. Well, besides the pavilion, is this a redesign of the ice rink? And
We're gonna have two ice rinks, you know, one, that's the plan, to have one for skaters and one for like the bumper cars. And right now we gotta put them all on one, and it's a little crowded, and sometimes they don't have as much space, and so we're gonna have two, one's gonna be a little bit bigger, one's gonna be a little smaller.
So the seating is new, so another
Yeah,
ice
all,
rink,
yeah,
more
all of, yeah, seating,
Okay.
and whether you haven't seen the entire design yet and all of those too, it's probably not 100%, but it's probably extremely close. We've gone through with like the number of trees that are there, and you know, I kind of wanted to see some like lit walkways to feed people down into the, you know, so they can walk at night like down into the, you know, the pavilion part and to see a concert. So there's a number of those things that need to be incorporated that are, and those were some of the smaller things that we talked
And
about.
the 10 million is paying for all of that? Is there any left over? Is that all allocated?
Well, let's get through the design first, and then we'll get through the construction, and we'll do the allocation. But you know, the estimate to be able to do all these things was, you know, was there, and so we'll certainly start at the end of this concert season.
Yes,
I think October-ish.
yes, yes.
And then hopefully get on a pretty aggressive schedule to be able to get that done. So.
And can I put Lori on the spot one more time, and then I'll be done. By the mic, just curious as a resident, because we like to hear from the people who live around there, when you hear and see the plan, what does that mean for someone who lives nearby? How does that improve living or your opportunity to do things in downtown?
So it makes it more exciting, right? Because working in the Ohio building, we like to use the area for lunch. It'll just be seem more alive with people and activity, and it makes it more exciting to be downtown. And also with the improvements, it'll with the shaded areas and some of the other things down there, it'll just look much better.
How do you spell Lori?
Lori.
Is Pesci like Joe, or is it?
Actually, like the
Okay.
actor.
Important details.
That's how I know I remember my actors' names.
Either Dan, the pavilion, is it being built into the hillside, or is it being built next to the Civic Theater? Just for.
It's not next to the Civic Theater. It's kind of where it is now and how it's positioned, but it's not necessarily into the hillside either. If you know, it's got that. It's still right. You know, the canal's right behind it. It's kind of like when you walk across from the Civic across the walkway bridge now. It's just kind of turned a little bit on that side to provide different experiences for concerts to be able to do that too. And so the one ice rink would be here in the winter, and the other ice rink would be here. Those aren't shown. That's a summertime kind of reiteration on that part too. Plus, you know, what's going on in the civic wall and the deck. This is a significant amount of, you know, public investment in public space. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have an estimate for how long it's going to take before? It's
Yes, I
completed?
do. I want it to be done as soon as possible, like everybody else. None of us have patience because we've been planning so long, but I'm guessing around a year, maybe a little bit longer. And I think it kind of all depends on, you know, hopefully we can get started pretty quickly right after the season. You know, when you look at construction season, sometimes we get a little bit better weather to be able to do some work, you know, through those winter months. That certainly would accelerate it. So it's roughly a year, but we certainly could, you know, I don't want to say anything about the S-N-O-W word. But, you know, that could push us back. So we're saying about a year.
Okay, and how do you anticipate that'll affect the 2023 summer season and all that?
We're actually assessing that about how we're going to do that now to do that. On what, do we want to stage it? And this is the internal conversation that we've had. Do we stage it and then say, okay, do section, keep this concert open, do the next section, or do we just build the whole thing first? I haven't really come up with a final decision on that. I think those are our two options to look at right now, and just kind of going through what's best for residents, and who use the park most, and how do we do that?
Great, thanks.
We're trying to design it so it has as little impact as we can on downtown residents and businesses, but the mayor's absolutely correct. That's the proposed timeline. And then really to build on the mayor's comments, we just literally finished the 60% design stage. And so what that really means is, are the right pieces in the park where they need to be? And then to the cost estimate question, we actually have our construction manager in the room. I'm not going to put him on the spot, but they are coming up with a revised cost estimate within the next 30 days, and then we will move towards building towards that $10 million goal. But it's our commitment to stay within that $10 million. If we decide to spend more, then we'll have that conversation. But it's our commitment.
Okay, Abby, to the question you asked about programming, just to flag, we've had a number of conversations about programming adjacent spaces so that it is as undisrupted as possible, and that we keep people's habits of coming downtown for work, play, dates, family time, and like Cascade Plaza, Main Street, the adjacent spots. I mean, you look at the overview of the block between the Akron Civic Theater and the Polsky Building. This is the main event. This is the center of the city. We've got to get this right. And so we want to make sure that it's active through the construction as well.
And if you notice, I mean, the top part is done with the street and the infrastructure and the lights. That's the welcoming gateway into saying, hey, let's come down this way when you have the Towpath Trail on the other side. So that street design and that street completion, except for that last little bit that we're doing down by Akron Public Schools, on that last bit, that's done too. And so the parking, the lights, all of that was, that was all pre-this. This was all leading up to this knowing, and this is the conversation with President Somerville, hey, we want to invest into Block 3, but obviously we have to wait. Let's get the construction done, and then obviously we have the opportunity to be able to do that now, and it's, like I said, it's a pretty exciting project into our central park.
Is that patio new, or is that just redesigned?
This is actually, it's already there.
Okay.
But this is redesigned, as the mayor said, this is actually where in the wintertime, and there's actually a wintertime photo I can share with you where one of the ice skating rinks will be. But that's really the cool part about how old a design this is. In summertime, you can have festivals, farmers markets. It's actually a hard surface, so you can actually have many of the great festivals that we currently have in the same space.
One other thing to note on this view, I think there's only 3 or 4 stairs in the entire park, if I'm getting, and they're at the top of the thing. So that path that you see working its way around the park, ADA, stroller, you don't have to be a super athlete to work your way through this park. And the fact that the paths are so, they curve so tightly, deters cyclists from flying through there, or skateboarders from flying through there. It'll be a passive, lollygagging, slow place. If you want to go fast, we got a Towpath Trail, go. But this park is for hanging out and for relaxation. Oh, there's a stroller right there.
Well, thank you, everybody. I want to thank you on behalf of Dan for coming down and being part of this. This is exciting. We look forward to seeing dirt fly pretty soon and continue to fundraise. So thanks again.
Thank you.